Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from September 17th from Red State, and it is entitled, "It Sure Seems Like the Media is Trying to Get Trump and More of His Followers Killed." And this is coming on the heels of people asking the media, like, hey, you guys going to stop referring to Trump as like a threat to democracy? And they've basically settled on, nah, we're not going to do that, and we're also going to just insult anybody associated with him as well. So the article says, now I'm just going to come right out of the gate and address most people's first impressions. That headline is a very incendiary statement, you must be thinking, or you might be thinking. And of course it is, but it's true, and that's what the article says here. It says maybe, but it appears to be true. And a bold statement of that nature doesn't make it any less true. The media are the enemy of the American people. Agreed 100% there. And it certainly seems as though they're trying to get President Trump and or his followers killed. And it can be proven using their own rhetoric, some over the past several years, and some in the past few days, as yet another assassination attempt came to light. How many times since 2016 did you see headlines in which legacy media insisted, nay, demanded, Donald Trump denounce every act of violence they reported on, over and over again, setting the bar such that if he didn't push back forcibly enough, then he would be branded an accessory to murder? Yeah, they always say that, like, if someone that happens to be Republican or like MAGA supports or does something violent and they, obviously support Trump, that's Trump's fault. But like, the dude in that went and shot up the congressional baseball game that almost killed Steve Scalise, like no one went to Bernie Sanders, who the guy admitted that it was Bernie Sanders' rhetoric that led to what this guy was trying to do. And he was a Bernie supporter, but no one asked Bernie about it. Yeah, if a Democrat does it, it's just, nah, it's not their fault. And Obama, what was it also? The dude in Dallas that killed 5 police officers, that was a BLM supporting guy after Obama made comments about police officers, and he went and did that, but no one said it was Obama's fault. Yeah, so, rules for thee, not for me sort of thing. So it says, think I'm kidding. MSNBC once used Nancy Pelosi and Joy Reid, individuals with the mental capacity of a rock, to help spread claims that Trump's calls for supporters to peacefully make their voices heard on January 6th meant that it could be charged as an accessory to murder, which is funny because that's like literally what he said was the peacefully part. He said, basically the dude said, don't do anything, be good. And they're like, no, that means he's an accessory to murder. It's like, do you know what that charge means? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but it's like, even I know that that's ridiculous. So here's an embedded tweet from MSNBC. So let's see what it says. It's probably going to be completely wrong because it is MSNBC, which is nothing more than just propaganda at this point. Because when we talk about, did any of our colleagues collaborate, that remains to be seen. If they did, they would be accessories to the crime. The crime in some cases was murder. The president is an accessory to that crime, Speaker Pelosi says about the Capitol riots. Obviously, this is from January 19th, 2021. This is from 2 weeks after January 6th. And now that I've said that a number of times, the magic words, I'm sure I'm going to see one of those community notes on the video. So yay! Or at least advising like what they think it was about as opposed to what it actually was. So even then, and since it's come out, of course, you probably know that Nancy Pelosi admitted to like essentially being the villain in the entire scenario and setting the whole thing up. But whatever. It says the New York Times last year ran a column with a headline stating Donald Trump is going to get someone killed. The author of that column, CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin, the guy that was caught yanking himself on video and that CNN rehired for some reason, noted that Trump's language is an imminent threat to his rhetorical targets and those around him. But nothing you guys say is, right? Because if rhetoric equates to murder, if downplaying violence helps spread violence, then the media is guilty right now. They're trying to get Donald Trump killed. Of course they are. It says NBC News, following the second assassination attempt against Trump in 2 months, reduced the arrest of the latest gunman to a golf club incident. So, and there's from Hans, is it Monkey? Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, because you don't hate the media enough. And then, yeah, it said this is the guy who shot Trump the second, or tried to shoot Trump the second time. I should say he shot him, because Trump wasn't shot the second time. But this is the second attempted assassin, is Ryan Ruth. It says in custody, and then, it said after a golf club incident. So I'm not going to click on the tweet, but just so you know what it says there is it does get cut off. So it says MSNBC analyst Frank Figliuzzi, a top FBI official during the Obama administration, suggested Trump is courting danger by daring to continue playing golf. Yeah, this dude's a nut job, this Frank Figliuzzi guy. Like, I've heard a number of things that he said on MSNBC, and I'm just like, dude, what is wrong with you? So this Figliuzzi has contributed to rhetoric in the past that would help fuel psychos with a penchant for shooting political leaders by once claiming Trump was giving off secret coded messages of Heil Hitler to white supremacists and Nazis. Yeah, because the dude's completely partisan. So here's Ryan Saavedra, who works for the Daily Wire, so just so you know who he is. Good reporter, definitely follow him. And this is his tweet. It says, MSNBC on this week on the El Paso tragedy. When is this from? This is from August 8th of 2019. Okay. So Nicole Wallace, who is, as I've said many times, is the there's a Rumble video that you should go watch. It's called the Typhoid Mary of Disinformation, and that couldn't be more appropriate. To call her awful would be an insult to actual awful things. So it says, she said, wrote, Trump talking about exterminating Latinos, which is nothing he ever said. Frank Figliuzzi, Trump raising flag on 8/8 signals Heil Hitler to Nazis. No, it doesn't, because that's not a thing. Malcolm Nance, who's Mr. Stolen Valor himself, says Trump giving Nazis subliminal orders. Yes, because only you can see the things that Trump isn't actually doing. And Mika Brzezinski, who's the other half of Morning Joe, which is another awful program, says this is what Trump wants. So MSNBC, I guess, is responsible for a lot of this stuff. Well, Rachel Vindman, a podcast host who has the misfortune of being married to perpetual Golden Corral customer of the month, Alexander Vindman. If you don't know who that guy is, go look him up. He's the guy who started, I think, was it the Russiagate thing? Not started it off, or no, he's the guy who, it's either him or his brother, or one of the Ukraine guys or something like that. Go look him up. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering at this moment, but he's not a good dude. So that Vindman joked about the latest assassination attempt by referencing the first and reducing it to Trump's ear being harmed. And Sarah Field, also a good follow, good reporter, says, I never, ever want to hear about how the right incites violence. This is Rachel Vindman, a woman who accused Trump of placing her in danger just for referencing her because she is the wife of one of the key impeachment witnesses. Right, that was it. She also claims to be a journalist, and she said, no ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. Yeah, she's not a good person either. Says, you may recall that a Trump supporter was killed at that rally, while 2 others were critically wounded. But it's all a joke to Rachel. NBC News host Lester Holt, who I used to have respect for, but I don't anymore, softened the outrage over the Trump assassination attempt by essentially saying the former president was asking for it. And he said, quote, today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail. Mr. Trump, his running mate, J.D. Vance, continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, resulting in bomb threats, Holt said. And I will just mention about this right now. None of the claims were baseless. They happened to be true. If you would just ask, the actual people living there, they were all true. And the bomb threats, Mike DeWine, the governor of Ohio, came out and said that they were all a hoax, and all the bomb threats came from overseas. So this was just BS. And it's funny how whenever something Republican brings up that might be an issue, there's always bomb threats that come in after that. So the media can just go, oh, look, they're calling in bomb threats. So, yeah, no. So, practically nothing Lester Holt said here was actually true. I'm going to skip over that tweet because it just repeats what I read above. It says, the only thing baseless is everything produced during an NBC segment or an NBC News report on a nightly basis. It is not to be outdone. MSNBC anchor Alex Witt advised the GOP nominee to start toning down his own rhetoric, failing to see the irony in such a suggestion when your own network has compared Trump to Hitler. Correct. And what is he saying? Again, I've never seen Vance say anything like this, so whatever. Says the media tells its viewers that on a nightly basis that Trump is a racist, that Trump is a threat to democracy, that he is a fascist. The second coming of Der Fuhrer thinks his rhetoric is the problem. Sorry, media firefighters, you're the actual problem here. You're the threat to democracy, producing nightly reports masquerading as news segments that have radicalized the left to the point where they feel emboldened to open fire on the current Republican nominee for president. Yep, I agree. Says they helped create and are likely creating more Thomas Matthew Crooks. That is the guy who was the first attempted assassin of Trump, and Ryan Wesley Roos. That's the second guy as we speak. Says jihadists couldn't make better radicalization videos than what the American media is producing right now. Says remember, you don't hate the media nearly enough as you think you do, or you should, for that matter. Yes, they fomented an environment where it is acceptable to make an attempt on Trump's life. Yes, they're downplaying these attempts to blunt support for the most persecuted man in the country today. Yes, they're hoping that their coverage softening these attacks will, in the event, God forbid, that one of their unhinged viewers tries to kill him again, create a narrative that he is the one asking for it. Yes, by their own rules, they're trying to get him killed. They already have Trump's blood on their hands. The media needs to stop before more is spilled. Yeah, the media is kind of using that, what's the argument? She was asking for it. She was wearing a short skirt argument. So they seem to think that that's totally fine. It's okay when they do it, but if a Republican does it, oh God, no, they're asking for it. It's their fault. They were wearing that short skirt. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. You can't hate the media enough, and I certainly don't hate them enough, and I need to start hating them more. Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.